And I hope it works. It should work. If not, we'll just get it figured out. All right, so we're live. So I'm here with Raphael. Raphael is a professional blue pillar. No, I'll let him do his own introduction to describe how he wants to describe himself. He's just getting himself set up. If you guys are here for the debate, we're going to start in about 2 minutes. We're going to let people join, and we're going to try to get technical issues where streams on hit as well. So if you're watching after the fact, about 2 or 3 minutes in is when the debate will start. So if you're with us live, just grab some popcorn, take a piss, get ready to be entertained, because gloves are off, Raphael. Going for your throat, man. How dare you? How dare you? I need the soundboard. I need the Greta Thunberg. Yeah, did you hit go live on your end?
I did, yeah. I'm only seeing myself though, but
Is your channel Women on Men also?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, if you're watching this after the fact, you're like, what the fuck is going on? About 2 to 3 minutes in, we'll just get this debate going, whether or not we... Yeah, no, it's live. But you're seeing yourself only. Yeah, that's weird.
Let me check your channel.
Yeah, that is weird. It's just yours.
Do I need to connect to do I need your stream key or anything?
No. Fuck. Why is it not working? Yeah, it literally is just you. That's fucking weird. Brazil is better than
Colombia. So should I use the Streamlab? Maybe I can use the Streamlab as the...
That RMTP thing should have done it. It might be the fact that there was another stream. We should probably just get started, bro. I don't think you want to watch us work out this shit. You can just download this and upload it to yours.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then the next time we'll make sure we get it. So you can just end yours, I guess, if you want. And then we'll get started. And just let me know when you're ready, and then we'll just get started. So, yeah, boys, we're going to start in about 30 seconds or so. He's just going to end the stream, technical difficulties. But, you guys, the wait is just about over. So you guys know who I am. I'll let him introduce himself, and then I'll have a question for him. So, yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, and then we'll just get into it, bro.
I'm Rafael Gomez. I'm the host of Women on Men, where I interview women, try to help men figure out how the dating scene, how to get women, how to keep women. And yeah, I guess I'm a quote unquote blue pillar. I don't know what that means, but I guess because I'm anti-red pill, that makes me blue pill, I guess.
Cool. All right. Anything else you want to add, or just get into it?
That sounds good to me.
All right. Awesome. So why do you think passport bros are losers back home, bro?
I think when you struggle to find women at home and you need to go elsewhere, I question those motives and intentions. I've had no trouble finding women here in the US. I know everyone has different preferences, but hold on one second. I'm hearing some audio. Yeah, I think if you need to go elsewhere to find somebody, I do question those motives. I wonder why that is. And I wonder why you're not able to find women here in the US.
Got it. So what if I was a woman and I was a big feminist woman in 1950 Saudi Arabia? I'm like, you know what? I'm a woman. It's 1950 Saudi Arabia, and I just want a man that's like pro women's rights. But I can't find anyone here. I have to leave the country. And then someone goes, huh, a whole country of, I don't know how many people are in Saudi Arabia, 30 million, 60 million. I have no idea, but millions and millions of people. You couldn't find one suitable partner. You had to leave the whole country. Well, yeah, because it's Saudi Arabia. It's 1950. 99.9% of men are not going to be pro women's rights. So yeah. Is she running away from her problems? Is she not working on herself, not doing the work and taking the easy way out to escape?
I think if your entire country is homogenous in that way, where 99% of the people agree on one thing, sure. But I think the US is much more diverse than that.
Okay, you don't think the average woman in the US, I must say average, I mean overwhelming majority, have a masculine affect?
I don't. And I'm curious, because I've heard you say that, and I'm curious what makes you think women are more masculine now than they ever have been.
Got it. Right. So like just so many examples. Masculinity and femininity is the way you sit. It's the gestures you make. If you tell a man, look at his fingernails, he'll go like this. Like, what's on my fingernails? He'll go like this. If you ask a woman, hey, can you look at your nails? She'll go like this. Right. She'll look at it from like, oh, what's on my fingernails? You ask a guy, he'll go like this. This way is easier. And like women are used to kind of doing this. So it's the way you sit. Like I might just sit down in a chair like this. A woman might like sit down in the chair like this. So femininity is more than just like what you say and the words you choose. You know the Fresh and Fit podcast, obviously. Did you know I was like a multiple time guest on there, and there's guys my good friends?
I've seen a couple
Yeah.
clips. Yeah.
So this is like years ago, I'd be like in my bedroom. Walter will have a girl over there chilling in the living room, and I come out of my room, and maybe she didn't know that Walter had roommates. She was kind of surprised to see like another man just walk out of the room, and then I kind of shock her. She's like, "Oh, hey, dude, what's going on, bro?" I'm just like, did you just call me dude and bro in the same sentence? And it's just ingrained within her. She didn't choose to be that way. It's a way she was brought up. So whereas a woman in Latin America would be like, "Ay, Dios mío, me asustas." Like they would, their voice would be different, their gestures would be different. They just wouldn't act like a dude.
I don't know. I think right now you've said the way they look at their nails and maybe the way they sit and how they say dude. I mean, I'm Latino. I'm half Dominican, half Mexican. Um, I feel like all my American relatives are still, feminine. I guess it just depends on how you really define it, because I find if you go to a restaurant, you'll see feminine women. If you go to a grocery store, you'll find feminine women. If you go to a park, you'll find feminine women. I'm just not sure what has made them more masculine. Now, I can grant you that a lot of men on the that I talked to on the red pill side have talked about how women want to work and women want to, make money, and that can be perceived as masculine. They don't want to be submissive. I think a lot of men can find that to be masculine. I still don't personally, but that's, I'm curious what you think about that.
The women wanting to work thing, right? Career women, that's what you mean?
Yeah, career women or just women in the workforce in general, they
Mhm.
make up a large portion of the workforce now. And that's different than it ever has been, which I think is probably an issue for guys who maybe want a submissive woman, which I
Yeah.
think is one of the main reasons men do go overseas, is to find someone that they think could be more traditional. And again, I have no problem with people having preferences in that way. Like if you want a traditional relationship and you can't find it here, I get it, but I do think they exist here. I do think, you can still find those kinds of women. It might be tougher. I'm not gonna deny that it's probably tougher to date American women than some other women, but um, I do think it can be done.
Okay. Just to push back, why would it perhaps be more difficult to date an American woman than a foreign woman?
If you're looking for traditional, is what I meant.
Oh, if you're
If
looking
you're,
for
yeah,
traditional.
if you're
By
looking for
traditional, you
traditional.
mean she wants to have kids, not be career focused, kind of let her man guide her and follow her man's lead, things like that.
Yeah, I do think that's probably harder to find today. I think a lot of people aren't having kids, not just women. I think a lot of men don't want to have kids. My wife and I, we didn't want to have kids. Um, I don't think that makes her less feminine. And
Mhm.
I don't think it makes me less masculine. I just, I don't want to bring a kid into this world. But I think, you know, I, I still don't, in terms of traditional, I grew up in the South a lot. My dad was in the military, so I moved around a lot. There's a lot of women in the South that still want to be traditional. So I think if you're looking for that, you could go to the South. Obviously, I'm not telling people to move to find a woman, but that's kind of what you guys are doing anyway. So I don't know that it needs to go overseas. I think the only issue I have with some of the passport bro culture is that if they're going for what I consider nefarious reasons, which is like you just want to take advantage of somebody, that I have an issue with. But if you're genuinely frustrated with dating here and you're looking for love, you're looking for a good relationship, and you want to treat a woman well, I have no issue, man. Like find love. I think every guy should be able to find whatever they're looking for as long as everyone agrees. It could be transactional, even, like I don't have an issue with transactional relationships as long as both parties understand what that transaction is.
What would be an example of taking advantage of a woman overseas?
Yeah, so I've heard of again, this is anecdotal. I didn't really find a lot of data on this, but I've heard stories of men who basically become very controlling because they have an economic advantage over women. So when they go to a country where women are looking for maybe an economic uplift, men take advantage of that and sometimes become controlling, maybe beyond what a traditional relationship would be, beyond submission, just straight up controlling, which I think is different. And I think that is where I find it to be kind of nefarious, because I think that economic differential is going to put people in positions where they might not really feel like they have much of a choice after that. Then they're kind of stuck.
So I'll give you my thoughts on that. There's something called a Chesterton fence, and the easy version of this would be you buy a house, you buy some land out in rural Wisconsin or wherever. You get there and there's this old fence and you're just like, hey, this is my land. I want to, I don't know, I want a big open field. I'm going to tear down this old stupid fence that some old, fogies built. And you just tear it down. You don't understand why it was there, but you tear it down. And then 2 weeks later, your land is infested with like some invasive plant species. Coyotes are all up on the property, floods, whatever's coming in. You're like, oh, it wasn't just some dumb old fogies that built that fence for no reason. That was there for a reason. Women making as much or out earning men. I believe women under 30 out earn men these days. If it's not out earning them, it's very close.
Yeah,
it's right. A Chesterton fence. They tore down it sounded like a good idea. Like, hey, why do I want this useless old fence on my land? It sounds like a good idea. Let's just take the fence out. But when you allow women to work and make money equal to a man, that's a Chesterton fence, and it causes all kinds of problems. That's why dating is so completely fucked. And I'll explain why. I had a girlfriend once upon a time in Colombia. She was Venezuelan, but it was in Colombia. I was like 37 or no, I was 34, 35. She was about 21, 22. And I was taller than this woman. I was bigger, stronger, obviously older, wiser. I was smarter. I spoke more languages. I was a better problem solver for anything, for planning a vacation, or if we were going to find an apartment. If both of us were tasked with like making a YouTube thumbnail, like anything, obviously I'm older, wiser, stronger. And of course, I out earned her by a factor of about 100 to 1. And that's what made me attracted to her in the first place. That is what women are wired to, is look for better men, look to upgrade, hypergamy, you can call it what you want, but women want men that are fundamentally better than them. If you deny, or if you want to dispute this, look at every romance novel for women, the classic one, 50 Shades of Grey, but I've done some research. They're virtually all like this, the 50 Shades of Grey model, which is the guy is the rich, handsome, charismatic billionaire. And then the woman in 50 Shades of Grey is the plain Jane intern. So you have the very average broke woman just starting in life. And that's the fantasy. The rich billionaire who's bigger, stronger, faster. He's superior to her in every way. So when you have these women in the West that are earning as much as men, before it was they couldn't get bank accounts without a man. They couldn't get credit cards without a man. They couldn't own or buy property without a man, all these different things. And I'm not saying we can go back to that. I think, sometimes once you open Pandora's box, it's open. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't want people to clip this and put words in mouth and say, hey, Casey Redbeard saying that all women we should all go back to the 1950s per se. But we've definitely fucked ourselves. So going to a place like Latin America, for instance, or Philippines, yeah, it's not about controlling women and manipulating women. It's not about sexual tourism, but out earning a woman. Women are getting more jobs and working more here in Latin America, but I do feel that is a natural order. I feel like women are happier when the men out earn them, when the men are superior to them, they're more attracted to them. And then I feel like when women earn as much as a man and there isn't that financial advantage that a man has, because what else advantage does he have? Women have this insane sexual advantage I can talk about later, but I've been ranting for a long time. I want to hear your thoughts on this, Woodby, or come back to that.
So yeah, you're right that women are working more. They're out earning a lot of the younger men. But the trend in terms of relationships earning equal or women earning more is going up. I think around 30% of relationships, women are earning as much or more than their partners. In my personal experience, I have dated 2 women who have out earned me. Never was an issue. That's not the reason we broke up. That's not the reason anything happened. Most of the women I speak to, they're willing to do it. A lot of my personal friends are dating people who make less than them. I know a woman who is a lead developer for a company and her husband makes less in HR, but they're happy. And I think relationships are no longer as resource dependent because like you stated, for the majority of history, women were marrying for resources because they could not allocate their own. And a lot of women were stuck in marriages. I know a lot of women who would have left their husband if they had a choice, but they never developed a career, never went to school. They only have a high school education and they don't feel like they can go anywhere. And divorce isn't necessarily an option. Maybe it's religion. And so they're kind of miserable. But now women have agency, they have a choice. And I think that choice means women get to be more selective about the men they date. I don't think it comes down to money. Most of the women I've talked to say they're willing to date somebody who earns less than them. They really, I think because women are earning their own money, they're buying their own houses and they feel financially secure. As long as the man has is financially literate, has enough money to, manage his own life. As long as the personality, humor, and kindness are there, a lot of women are down. They're looking for companions. They're looking for partners. They're not necessarily looking for someone to provide for them. That's what I found, at least.
Okay, so you said a lot of things here. You said you've dated women that have out-earned you. You said you've seen a lot of relationships where women out-earn men that seem to work. And then you said that women say, I know you go on the street and you interview women and they'll say things like, oh yeah, like kindness and good character matters more than height and muscles and status and money. I just want a kind guy. I'm sure the women say that, but we have a word for women who date guys that make a lot less money than them, or even a little bit less money than them. We call them war pigs. We can call them swamp monsters. We can call them half-eaten zombies, decaying zombies. It's typically not, when I say typically, I mean in all cases, it's never an attractive woman that's dating a guy that earns less than her. You'll never see the bottle waitress at, the Vegas nightclub dating the freelancer who makes 50, 60K a year. You just wouldn't see it.
It happens all the time, man. And I mean, we can point to celebrity couples where the women out earn the men. We can look all day at examples of this. I was talking to a producer recently who makes a lot of money in TV, and she was telling me she out earns her husband and she has no problem with it, and she's a good looking woman. I just don't think that's the case. Especially to say I don't think I dated ugly women at all. So I think the women that out earn me, they weren't what you call war pigs, which I think is pretty harsh. I also think men maybe are so looks driven that that's all they really think about or care about. But you're talking about a lifetime, and if you're talking about a lifetime relationship, looks are gonna fade. Looks are gonna go, and if you can't like the person you're with, then you're gonna have a shallow relationship, and that's doomed, in my opinion.
Of course, no. I mean, life isn't a Disney movie. Obviously, men are wired to be extremely physical and visual in their sexual nature. I think that after you're in a long-term relationship with a woman and she's giving you kids, if you want that, and 30, 40 years of dating this chick over a long time, I think that love evolves into a different form of love. I don't think people in their 50s are, jumping into bed together. Kind of hope they're not. No, if they want to, that's fine. But women out earning men, I do think is a big problem because, I mean, let's be honest, bro. So you're telling me, what city do you live in?
I live in Orange County, like just south of LA.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm from Torrance, California. So,
Nice.
What's a nice restaurant? STK, Nobu. What are the nice restaurants there?
Nobu's good. I personally like South of Nix and Laguna Beach. That's one of my favorites.
Sure.
But yeah, Nobu's good.
Nobu. Let's say Nobu, South of
Newport.
Nix, one of these. It doesn't matter. We're in one of these nice restaurants, and we were to ask the waiter, say, hey, we're doing a social experiment. We're a bunch of college kids. I know we look older than college kids, but trust us, we're college kids. We're doing a social experiment here. I want you to just when you pass the bill to the people tonight, especially when it was, an attractive couple, or at least the woman was attractive, and, in your eyes, who pays the bill, the man or the woman, or they split it? What do you think the pie chart would look like in terms of who's paying the bill?
I definitely would say men, but my point on that is, for example, if I'm taking my wife on date night, I pay. If we're just getting dinner because we're hungry, we split it. Like that's how our relationship works. If a guy is actively dating, he's probably going to be paying. I think that is attractive because it shows, a commitment. It shows that you really care about the person. That, and I think those kinds of things matter. The dating. I mean, that's going to be the same anywhere you go. I mean, I
Mhm.
think if you go, I think in Brazil, you'll probably see that too. If you ask the waiter who's paying, it's probably the guy.
Of course, yeah.
And I think here in the US, there's more of a chance that a woman would be willing to pay the bill than almost anywhere else. And that I remember a few years ago, it's probably like 10 years ago, I asked my hairstylist out after she cut my hair, and we met for a drink, and she had already bought it and she paid for it, and it blew my mind. And she didn't in any way make me feel bad for it or anything. I thought it was such a cool gesture.
Mhm.
So I've seen that happen as well. I think it depends on what kind of people you're dating. If you're dating people who are very materialistic, yeah, money is going to be a big factor. Status is going to be a big factor. But I think for the vast majority of like 150 million women, that's not necessarily the case. You're going to find people in certain areas. I know Myron likes to talk about these women, but he's in Miami, which is very materialistic. And that's going to be very different than I think if you're dating somebody in Madison, Wisconsin. It's going to be a totally different experience.
Sure, OC is going to be pretty similar too, though. So you were saying before that, you know, this hairdresser, you asked her out and you got a drink. Again, I'm going to be a respectful, you know, debater, but I have to also make my point and keep things, you know, 100. I would doubt that any woman who's offering to pay on the first date is an attractive woman. What I would call attractive. You've seen my Instagram, of course, right? So you know the type of caliber women that I mess with. They're all extremely beautiful. Eights, nines. I mean, there's a couple that you would have to call near perfect tens. I mean, absolutely top of the food chain. And this whole, like, there'll be statistics too that come out like a third of men haven't had sex in the last year. Well, fine. But the scarier statistic is the 2/3 of men that have had sex are massively settling, again, for what I call war pigs and swamp monsters and land whales. So, I mean, it's a little bit, you know, off topic, but well, kind of on topic, but let's go back to that. I mean, if you want to say something on this, we can, but I think, you know, it matters. It doesn't matter. Can you get girls, or what do, you know, some girls do? I'm talking about the desirable women. Cause you could throw the argument like, you know, guys may be down for, like, oh no, guys are down doing open relationships. I know tons of guys that are down to do open relationship where, you know, he can share me, you know, and I can go out on dates, and yeah, they're called fucking dorks, fucking losers, fucking incels. I'll be getting no pussy. That guy will choose an open relationship. But if you want to rebuttal to that, you can. But then I want to talk more about this, you know, passport. I want to kind of stay on topic here, the passport bro escapism thing. Do you want to respond to that too, or should we go more to the escapism stuff?
Yeah. I mean, if you're only looking for 8, 9s, and 10s, I mean, go for it. I think most of the men out there, they probably desire that, but I think most men in general desire a woman that desires them, and I think that can come in all shapes and sizes. I've dated people you probably consider 10s. I've dated people you probably consider 7s, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily change. And also, like, my question to you is, if you're dating these really attractive women, are you looking to settle down in any way, or are you just looking to have sex, basically?
Real quick, and you don't have to. Would you put a photo? Would you like share your screen and show a photo of any of these like 10s that you've dated?
Absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. And there's other reasons. Doesn't mean you're lying per se.
Right.
Just it would be, you know. And then the question was, but I mean, I am doubtful, but whatever. It's who knows. You're not showing it, and I respect.
Why are you doubtful? Just out of curiosity.
A very few people can get above a 7.5. I would hazard a guess worldwide, you know, United States included, 99, probably 0.9%, but certainly 99% have never been intimate with what I would consider like a 7.5 or better.
Would you call a 23-year-old girl potentially, a college girl potentially could be a 10?
Of course. Why not? Yeah.
That's what I dated, and she was very attractive. But you know, it's okay if it's
What
fine.
was it? Did she have a tiny waist, big tits, and a big ass?
Yes, but I'm not going to objectify her that way. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you get 10s. All right. Fair. No, it's just kind of like saying like, would you believe me without showing you that I could, you know, change the angle, you know, show my living room over here, and then do jump into a double backflip? Like, what are the odds that any human being could just stand up and jump and perform a double backflip in the air? I don't want to do it for various reasons. And again, I get it. For me, not doing a double backflip, there's maybe, you know, no legitimate reason why I wouldn't do it if I could. You have a legitimate reason of like,
yeah, if you
violating
look
her
like
privacy.
a gymnast,
Yeah.
if you look like a gymnast, I might say, okay, yeah, you might be able to do that.
But you get what I'm saying, bro. Any random dude off the street, the odds that he's dated a 10 is almost zero. Any random dude off the street, the odds that he can bench press 600 pounds is virtually zero. There are some people who can bench press 600 pounds, but it's probably 1 in 100,000 people, if that. And I'm saying it's about the same level of rarity, probably, to be able to, you know, date a 9 and a 10 without paying for it is probably about the same level of rarity as dating.
Do you know anyone in your personal life besides anyone who's traveled outside of the country that's dated what you call 9 and 10s?
Yeah, but my friend circle is different, but you can't compare me. Like I'm friends with all the best dating coaches in the world. I hang out with fucking winners, other red pill guys, other entrepreneurs, other rich dudes. I'm famous. People, walk up to me. Like I have large access to a big group of like top level guys. You know what I mean? So my circle is not an average circle.
Got it. So basically, if you're not a top tier guy, you're not going to get 9 to 10, is what you're saying, unless you go
I mean,
overseas.
if you won the lottery, right? But I would say it'd be extremely unlikely, right? Like
Okay.
I'm sure there's always like the exception. I'm sure there's like cases where you're a very normal dude, and then a 10 sits next to you in class, and she asks you to borrow a pencil, and then that conversation turned into more. And wouldn't you know it, she's just one of these girls that just liked you for you. I think that can happen. I think that's like trying to win the lottery, though.
So is the reason you moved to Brazil is so you can date 9s and 10s, basically, because you didn't want to deal with them here in the US?
Here's the thing. Guys say this all the time. The girls you date are drop dead gorgeous, but you couldn't get a girl that looks like that in the US. And I say, no fucking shit, I couldn't. I could get maybe a 7.5 or an 8. If I really put in the effort, maybe I can get like the odd 8.5 or 9. But first of all, yes, it's just hot women are more attainable for me to get out here. But the second thing is, let's say I could get a 9 in Miami, which if I put again, I have online dating virtual assistants. I run my dating life. I have multiple Instagram accounts. I can buy ads to boost my IG, get reach. Let's say I could do all that effort and I could get a 9 in Miami, which I probably couldn't. I'd probably could get like, 7.5 or an 8, but let's say I could. She would still be masculine. Back to my Saudi Arabia analogy, right? The woman who wants to flee Saudi Arabia, she's like, I'm just a big old feminist and I just want a guy who's pro women's rights. Yeah, you're going to have to leave Saudi Arabia, girl. And again, you were like, what does it to mean to be feminine? I mean, do I seem like a feminine guy? Do I have a feminine affect?
I mean, I don't know what that means, but no, not really. I guess from my
How,
opinion, no.
if you don't know what it means, how can you say no?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think masculine and feminine is some defined thing. And I think to say a woman's masculine, some people will say a woman's masculine because she wants to work. Some people will say she's masculine because she calls you dude. So I think it depends.
Check this out. Oh, stop it. You know the difference. It's fucking obvious. Hello, Earth to Raphael. How about now? Would you give the same answer? Am I being more feminine now? Or like, what do you want to say?
That strikes me as feminine, but again, I don't necessarily define things that black and white. I just don't.
You're saying, I mean, men have masculine traits typically, women have feminine traits typically. There's obviously men have a feminine side, women have somewhat of a masculine side, but overall, do you agree to that or no?
Sure, but you're saying these 9s and 10s in Miami are calling you dude and speaking with a deep voice and have facial hair? Like, I don't understand.
Not physically, right? Because on the outside, some of the hottest women I've seen are in Miami, but they're not caring, they're not sweet, they're not nurturing, they're not submissive. They always think that they have a better idea than you think. That, like a girl in Brazil might be like, well, look, this dude is 37. He has all these accolades. He speaks multiple languages. He's traveled all over the world. He runs successful businesses and companies, and just, the way he talks and, what I can decipher from knowing him, it's probably better that he kind of leads a relationship and I just kind of follow his lead. From the girl's perspective, she's thinking, why wouldn't I follow somebody who's older, wiser, richer, better problem solver, just has more experience on this planet? But in Miami, the 22-year-old with big tits who's on the, I don't say who does drugs. I was going to say whatever. The 21-year-old with big tits thinks she knows how to tell me how to run my life. Or if I try to give her some advice and she's like, no, you don't know me. I don't got to listen to no fucking man. Ain't no fucking man going to tell me what to do. So they're combative. Being combative is more of a masculine trait. Would you agree?
Not necessarily.
To be disagreeable and combative? No?
No, I think women can do that just as well. And
because you live in America, bro. Can I ask you a question? When was the last time you dated? Because you're Latino, right?
Right.
¿Hablas español? ¿De dónde eres?
Sí, lo entiendo mejor, pero lo hablo también.
Okay, where are you from?
My dad's Dominican, my mom's Mexican.
But you're born and raised in LA with a Dominican and Mexican parents.
No, I was a military kid. I don't think I was born and raised anywhere. I moved like every 3 years.
Okay, got it, got it, got it.
Here on my own accord. But yeah.
So have you dated in anywhere? I don't know, those countries, DR, Mexico, or anywhere? Have you spent significant time there and had a relationship, had a girlfriend that was like not like, oh yeah, a Mexican girl that moved to America. No, like over there, a girl that had never been to the United States. Have you?
I had short stints, but nothing long term. I did not stay that long. I was there maybe at most a couple of weeks.
And where was there?
DR, sometimes
Okay.
Mexico.
So you had very short little flings, but overall not a lot.
Right.
Okay, so you may kind of know what I'm talking about, but this is the problem. Even my other, friends that are dating coaches, like my good friend, shout out to Chad, Defense Simping. I'll say to, I'll say to him, I'll say to a lot of these guys, I don't think that they know what true femininity, what true submission even looks like. I think, do you know what frame is, to have a woman inside of your frame? I'll define it for the audience anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've read Rollo's books and I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. When a woman is in your frame, it means that you are portraying yourself as this very high value guy, that you're a catch, and she's kind of buying into that frame. You believe you're this high value guy, and then, you've got it all figured out and you're on your path and you're doing the right things in life. And she buys into that frame. She accepts that point of view of yours, and she just kind of follows along and tags along. So that's what it means to have a woman in your frame. And I think guys will get, some American chick who's combative, aggressive to fall into their frame somewhat. And they think like, oh yeah, she's feminine, she's submissive. But bro, no, unless you actually spent significant time over here, I don't think that, like, what would be an example? I mean, it's just an energy, bro. Again, like I'm trying, like, these things like like, is Wolverine from X-Men masculine or feminine? Or how about, if you were to watch a movie of like, Marilyn, but like a Marilyn Monroe movie, like, again, it's just Wolverine is aggressive. He's in your face. He interrupts you. He wants to assert his dominance. He wants to assert his frame over you. And then if you watched a Marilyn Monroe movie, she'd probably be, I haven't watched any, but I imagine she'd probably be more delicate, more shy, not over talk you, kind of, be in her place a little bit more.
You should
not
watch
try
How to Marry a Millionaire, by the way. That's one of her movies.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
But my dad is one of 17 kids from the DR. And I have a lot of aunts and I have a lot of cousins, and a lot of them immigrated here. And I could tell you, if you spent time around a lot of Dominican women, they are feisty and they will argue and they will tell you what's up. That doesn't make them less feminine, in my opinion. One of my aunts was a model, and she'll argue with a guy because she has a different opinion. I don't think that makes somebody masculine. I think that makes somebody human.
Yeah, Latinas definitely have flama, fuego, fire, whatever you want to call it. I do agree to that, but here's what people, because I'll say things like, I even made this funny AI video. It got like, I don't know, it's like got 4 million views, where it's like on one side, the American woman's being like all nasty and entitled, and then the Latina. So there's a man and a woman.
Oh, I've seen those.
Latina.
Yeah.
You've seen those? Yeah. So it's like a fat American chick, a man who's supposed to kind of look like me. He resembles me. And then a Latina.
Do you think that's on purpose?
No, I made it. No, it's.
Oh,
you
made it. You made it.
Yeah,
okay,
I made the video. Yeah.
Got
if
it,
you've seen, there's a lot of similar ones. I don't know if you've seen mine in particular. It's got like 4 or 5 million views, so maybe you have. But anyway, the masculine American chick says, I don't know, some entitled, I only date 6'5" millionaires, and the Latina says, I will submit to you and call you Poppy. And then me in the middle walks off with the Latina and dishes the fat white girl. And then a lot of people in the comment like, ha, 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 bro really called Latinas submissive. They can get feisty because they want you to bend them over, spank them, and put them in their fucking place. That's number one. Number two, the reason why it like hurts the ear of like so many feminists, even in Latin America, if you say like, oh, I want a woman that's submissive or feminine, especially the word submissive. I want a woman that's submissive, but I don't want her to be submissive to everybody. I wouldn't say the word I want her to put up a fight with me initially. Like I want her to be, I don't like a lot of shit tests, which again, to people who are watching don't know. A shit test is when a girl says to you, I don't normally like guys with beards, or you're only 5'11". That's not very tall. So I don't want to like overcome a lot of, shit tests with a woman. Would be, pretty soft, but I have to like conquer her a little bit, in the beginning. She's a little bit feisty. That's fine. But a submissive woman is only supposed to be fully submissive to her man. Now she's supposed to be soft and delicate in all situations to all men. But she's supposed to stand up for herself, and, a little bit of sass. In my mind, it's because they want you to remind them who fucking daddy is. And again, I don't necessarily even like super sassy girls. And I don't agree that Latinas per se are super sassy. I guess, no, I take that back. Maybe they are. When you compare them to like Japanese women or something, I guess you could say Latinas are a lot more sassy, but that's all at an individual level.
Now, yeah, I hear what you're saying. And again, I have no problem with people who want to find somebody submissive if that's what they're looking for. I think that's an okay relationship dynamic if both parties that's what they want. I mean, who am I to say that's wrong? My question to you is passport bros tend to go to Latin America and East Asia. Why don't they go to Europe? Why don't they go to Europe, for example? Why is that not a destination for passport bros?
There are westernized countries with very similar mindsets to the countries that they wanted to escape. So, for example, Sweden and Denmark. Actually, I can't speak on Denmark. Let's talk about Sweden, because I've been there. The women are, yeah, like, okay, put it this way. Let's say that, again, I'll use the, exaggerated example. If a Latina who I was dating was to kind of like see me run into me at the airport, she'd be like, oh my God, like I'm running into you at the airport. That's so crazy. I can't do a high pitched squeal, but like,
You sound like
like,
my aunts. I get it. You sound
yeah,
like my aunts.
exactly.
I get it.
And then if I was to like show up at the airport with some girl that I was dating and she was Swedish, she'd be like, oh, fancy that, bumping into you. What a surprise.
Like
You know what I
scholarly
mean?
or something.
Yeah, just like, oh, like I'd be like, the funny thing is we did like you know what a pickup artist boot camp is, like in Sweden, where we take the guys out, is for Todd V dating back in the day, if you know who that is. But we were like teaching guys to pick up girls, and we weren't getting very many IOIs or indicators of interest. We would think the girls didn't like us, and a lot of times at the end of the night they'd be like, so you take me to your apartment now, and we'd be like, what the fuck? Like, they're just kind of like, they don't have the spice, they don't have the whatever. So yeah, they're not super feminine. But I think I know what you were trying to say. Maybe the economic advantage isn't there. Is that what you were
Not
hinting at, or?
necessarily. I was wondering, literally, I'm curious more than anything. I'm not trying to pass judgment. I'm more like wondering why is it that? And I think because like I think when I think of, Sweden or Denmark or these places, even Germany, I lived in Germany for 3 years. These women don't come off to me as masculine. They don't come to me as like, they don't come off as like hard. They come off mostly soft. Maybe there's a language difference or maybe there's a cultural difference, but they still strike me as soft women typically, based on what you were saying. So that's why I was curious, like why is it only these countries? And maybe it is, like you said, the enthusiasm or just a different flavor. I mean, I get that, but I do wonder why it does, because I came across the Passport Bros subreddit and everyone there is talking about, Asia and Latin America. And I just was wondering why only those places.
Let's go on to the next thing in a second. Let's just read some of these chats. I'm just gonna put this on the screen. You want to respond to this guy? You want to clap back? Something tells me Raphael dates 3 out of 10 single moms and he thinks he's crushing it. Do you want to address this?
I've only dated one single mom and I would give her an 8. I would also say Ninja Killer. If you're single and lonely, I don't think you should be talking.
Okay, Ninja Killer, if you want to, we'll read super chat. So if you guys have questions or things you want to bring up, you have questions for me or questions for Raphael, then we will address them. Just say $5 and up. Don't be super brokies here. Okay, great. So if you have any other questions for me, you can. Otherwise, I can bring up a point.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so when people say, losers back home, I'm trying to bring up, a new point here that, has been brought up. We're really just escaping, we're escaping masculinity. We're escaping the comically high standards. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up too. Another thing is because I don't know, for example, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't imagine per se, for instance, Denmark would have these more realistic standards like women have in Asia or Latin American countries. Do you think that women's standards in the West are comically high or too high?
I wouldn't say comically or too high. No. I think when you're talking about, like, let's say a woman has, there are times, let me admit, there are times where I think women are being comically, their standards are comically high. I need a man to make $1 million a year. Good luck. Have fun with that. I do think when you're looking at the West, it is more expensive to live here, in general. There's no place I think that's like cheap anymore in the U.S. And because of that, economic standards have risen for everybody. So I think when women are talking about economic expectations, that can come off, unless it's unrealistic, it can come off as like, well, that's a little too high for me. But what I do see also is that women are more willing to partner up and be more egalitarian in terms of income, splitting the household duties, splitting parental duties,
Mhm.
splitting the bills, splitting everything else, and everything becomes a partnership, which is what my relationship is, and I fucking love it. But I do think that if women are expecting 6'5", jacked, rich, I think that's a high expectation. And it's very low likelihood that that's going to happen. But I think the vast majority of women, especially the ones I've talked to, especially the ones in my life, are looking for just generally good dudes with a job. And that's mostly what I find. I think online we hear these voices, especially on Fresh and Fit and whatever, which are very curated audience members, which is a big reason why I created my channel, was to interview normal women, and just say, I don't think the stuff you guys are hearing online is necessarily true. I don't think those standards are too high. Typically, that's not what I'm finding.
Okay. Do you think modern? I wanted to talk about that. You said the income wasn't so important, and I want to talk about looks versus income in terms of male and female attraction. So I wrote that down as a note. If you ever see me texting, I'm not like texting my
It's all
boys or
good, man.
something.
Do your
I'm
thing.
taking notes. But I did want to talk about first. Do you think that the average woman in the United States either hates men or at the very least has a low opinion? By the way, thank you for two out
Two-out
rallies,
rallies.
$5. We're rich, dude. We can get Starbucks today. Do you think the average woman has a high opinion of men, a neutral opinion of men, or a low opinion of men? Say an average woman in Los Angeles, let's just say. Do you think she's kind of like, men are trash, men are garbage, men don't do shit for you these days, men are soft, men are pussies? Or do you think she's like, oh, men are fat? If there's one thing I love in this world,
It's men.
it's men. I just love me. I just have a high opinion of guys. do you think that? Come on and be honest, bro.
No,
Be
no,
fucking honest,
I'll be
bro.
honest. I agree. I do most of the time. Okay, so when I go up to women and ask them to do interviews, I'm like, "Do you mind answering some questions about men?" And they almost always kind of laugh or say, "Oh God, not men!" Like, "Oh geez." So yeah, I get it every single time. I get it. Do I think it can be warranted? Yes. Do I
How
think?
so?
Well, I think there's a lot of shitty dudes out there. I really do. I know a lot of them. There's a lot of shitty guys. There's a lot of guys who never have worked on anything beyond their looks or their money. They don't know how to carry a conversation. They could sometimes be dicks. I mean, men have been abusive throughout life. I mean, maybe they've seen their father be abusive to their mother. Like, guys can be shitty. And do I think women maybe go too far with that hate? Maybe. But I could tell you that some of the most loud misandrists online still date men. Like, look at Drew Follow. I think she's married. Um, you know, uh, my wife would say she doesn't like most men, but she's
Wow.
crazy about me. So I think, yes, I think they're looking for good ones and they're out there, but I think they've encountered a lot of bad ones.
So if passport bros are losers back home, maybe they're not, because you agree that the average woman rolls their eyes and does not have a good opinion of men. You understand that that doesn't exist in a lot of other places. It could exist to certain degrees, but overall, I never feel like in America, when I'm talking to a woman, I still, maybe holler very rarely, but maybe I'll holler at a girl in the United States. It's actually been quite a long time, but I feel like I'm starting from down here. I feel like I'm like guilty until proven innocent.
I can agree with that.
And then
I
I
can agree
have
with that.
to, prove my innocence versus a girl in Latin America is like, well, I don't think you're guilty, nor do I think you're innocent. I just have you show me what you've got, right? So, okay, so you agree to that. So it's pretty cooked in the United States, and guys who are passport bros are smarter, if anything. Then they're escaping women who, through no fault of their own, were groupthink, socially conditioned to have a bad opinion of them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's groupthink. I think everyone has their own individual experiences. If you're influenced totally by what you're seeing online, then yeah, that's groupthink. But I think most people have real life experiences. Excuse me. I think with COVID, I mean, think about it. If you were 12 years old during COVID and you're a guy, you're not going outside, you're not going to school, you're not socializing, you're only spending time online. And all you're hearing is this stuff online. That's going to influence you. I think a lot of men are in groupthink because I think a lot of men that have fallen into red pill fall into one similar ideology. They follow the same people and they say the same talking points almost on every comment section of mine. It's the same thing. It's like they literally are reading from a book. So I think a lot of the groupthink has actually fallen more on the men's side. I do think men are more likely to stay home. They're more likely to play video games. They're more likely to watch porn and not go and socialize. And I think that has influenced how they feel women feel about them. Because again, I come up to women who have headphones in on the beach and I interrupt them. And that is a risky move. I think you would even say as a pickup guy, that's probably not the best move. You know, like you might piss them off or whatever. Maybe, maybe not. But they take out their headphone. They look a little annoyed. I hit them with the question. They're like, oh, this guy seems nice. Yeah, I'll talk to him. And it ends up being okay. And I think if men go out and socialize more, they'll see that everything they see online isn't necessarily true. Yes, women can maybe have a negative view of you. I think women are often fearful of men in a lot of situations. I think also a lot of men take rejection horribly. A lot of men, I'm going to post a video today about a girl who got basically yelled at because she turned a guy down and the guy wants to argue. And it's like, that's not going to, A, get you a date or make you in any way more attractive. I think women don't want to reject men because they're afraid of the repercussions. And I think all of that is why you kind of have to prove your innocence. And while maybe it's easier overseas because you don't have to prove your innocence, I feel like all that stuff I hear has never hindered me or stopped me or anything from talking to a woman because I personally have the confidence to feel like even if they reject me, I don't care. And I also think I can charm them and win them over my personality and show them that I'm a good dude. And that normally has worked for me. But I understand that a lot of men might not want to go through all that. And so they go overseas. Again, if their intentions are good, go for it. Find what you're looking for. But if your intentions are like, women are trash, I'm just going to go take advantage of somebody overseas, that's where I have a problem. Don, let
All
me
right, Don. Thank you for that, Don. No. All right. So I have a lot to say on this. I do agree that dudes are mad pathetic, but I want to ask you, we want to address some super chats. We have two of those you're going to address first, but I want to come back to, I do agree that men are princesses, softies, totally fucking bitch made, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of ways to say the same thing. I think that's due to the fact that a lot of them have just given up against insurmountable odds. So they're not even trying. So I have some questions. I want to know your takes on that, but first let's do these, let's see if they're questions or just comments. Okay, this is a question, I guess, presumably for you. So Sehaga, I guess. Considering hypergamy and the fact that women go for the top 20% of men, aren't their standards by their very nature inflated?
That stat is simply on dating apps. If you look at the actual stats, over 50% of men are in relationships. So obviously that's more than 20%. That stat has been overinflated by dating apps. And again, it's online stuff. I think almost 50% of men in this country are married. So again, that's more than 20%. So they're not just going for 20%. They might desire the top 20%, but just like men, like I desire Dua Lipa, doesn't mean I'm gonna go get her. Like you can desire all kinds of things. You fall in love with who you fall in love with. So no, I don't think that's true.
Well, there's no way 50% of men are in relationships are married unless we're talking about guys who were married. I'd want to like double check that stat, but let's say it is true. What's inflating it is men who got in relationships and got married before whatever wave of feminism. We're on the blue hair wave of feminism, whatever sixth, seventh, eighth wave. I think these guys got married when women were still women. They married their high school sweetheart. It's certainly not people under the age of 30.
No, under the age of 30, there's a large gap. Women are
Course, yeah.
63% in relationships. Young men are only 30% in relationships. A lot of younger women are dating millennials because they skip the red pill stuff. The red pill is hurting a lot of young men, and they're falling into it because they're more and more upset. And so they believe stuff like this that they hear in red pill spaces. And so they become what I consider black pilled because they feel like it's hopeless. You even said just now, it's hopeless. It's a fool's errand to even try to date women. So a lot of men who don't have confidence or don't have the social skills to date women, they're going to just say, well, fuck it. It's over. I hate women. They suck. They're only going after 20% of men. And they basically wash their hands of it instead of, in my opinion, building the personal development in terms of their confidence, their emotional maturity. All of these things can basically make it so that stuff doesn't even affect you. Like if you have actual confidence, there's nothing a woman can say to you that's going to take that away. And I think a lot of men don't want to develop it because they just feel like it's hopeless.
Okay. I agree on a lot of that, because again, if somebody said climb Mount Everest naked, I probably wouldn't make it a third of the way up of the mountain and then freeze to death. I probably just wouldn't even try. But if I have a gun, I'd just shoot myself and not even try. Like say I could climb 15% of the mountain naked before I died. I wouldn't even try to do that 15% because
Sure.
I know there's no way I could get to the 85. So I think that is part of the reason why dudes are so pathetic these days. Then there's porn, there's video games. Let's move on to the next one. Thank you, Sahaga, for that. And then this is actually one of my best friends in the whole world, from my OG friend who's actually quite blue pill. So I don't only have, these Andrew Tate wannabes as friends. So there you go. Actual Education says, who has it easier in the world, men or women? If you think it's women, would you have preferred to be born a woman? Is that for me or for Raphael, Gio? Or you want us both to answer? Actual Education. Sorry, I didn't say his name.
I don't know if it's for me. I could say,
yeah, go for it. Answer it first.
I think men have it easier. I think throughout history they've had it easier. Yes, there are things that men have. In some ways, they have it harder, but I think for the vast majority of life in general, they have had it easier.
Okay. Sorry. Can you say it again? Why do men have it easier in right now in modern society?
I was saying throughout history.
Well, I think he means today. Let's say today. Who has easier lives now, men or women are equal, and why?
I would say men have it easier still simply because the vast majority of power is still men. Women are obviously coming up in the world, but there are things that women have to deal with that men will never have to deal with. For example, my wife taught me a long time ago when she goes to a parking garage, she always parks near the exit, something I never would have thought of and not once in my life. I don't fear for my safety anywhere I go, though the statistics are men are more likely to be, killed or hurt. I still don't walk around with fear. And I think women, because they do walk around with fear in their day to day, they have to lock their doors more at night. They have to set their alarms more at night. I think that alone is harder than what men have to go through.
The threat of physical violence. Okay, cool. So Chosen One, we have a super chat from you coming up next. I will get to that in a second. I'll just give my 2 cents on this one. I want to do a whole live stream with you and maybe some other people about this. I want to get some women on there. If you guys are enjoying the stream and you want me to do more of these, let me know in the chat right now. Or if you're watching after the fact, let me know in the comments if you want to see more live streams. So women are born with an ATM between their legs. What we have between our legs is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Meaning, if I'm a woman and I pull over at this gas station late at night, a long road trip, I'm like, hey, bro, like, I got no money, man. I need gas. I want some beef jerky, water. Like, I'm starving. I ain't got no money, but like, if we turn off the cameras and I'll like, hop on top of you real quick, would you hook me up? He will give her the gas and the water and the beef jerky. And I'm not saying that means like, oh, well, women have the power to prostitute themselves. That's an analogy for a bigger thing versus a man at a gas station. Say it's a female, say it's a handsome man and an average woman. Hey, can we turn off the cameras and I'll bang you for some beef jerky? She'd be like, excuse me? Like, she could pepper spray him, call the cops, sexual harassment. I don't mean that women can prostitute themselves at a gas station. What I mean by that in a bigger context is a woman wants to do an online dating profile, couple selfies, lazy, instant matches. The text messages start coming in. I'll respond when I feel like it. I'll give lazy one-word answers. A woman wants to go on a vacation. She's there. She wants access to a party. She's there. She wants to go on a helicopter ride. She wants to be on a yacht. She has a crush on a guy, and she's not a land whale. 99, any guy she has to be not a land whale. Okay. If you overeat, maybe it's not 90% of guys that flirt back. Maybe it's only 40 or 50%. less harsh sentences for the same crime. At every step of the way, their vagina is getting them access. Dates are paid for. People are coming up to you. People are your DMs, validation, attention, guys, time saving. Like a 60-year hour week attorney has to like, okay, shit, I work 60 hours. I'm an attorney, but I got to like make time to get on Bumble, make time to go to the bar. A woman could be like, oh shit, I haven't talked to any guys. It's Friday. I'm closing the office. I haven't even thought about it. I'm going to open up Bumble for 5 seconds and I'm exploding with offers. Last minute date, throw on some heels, get going. Whereas the guy would have to be dealing with at every step of the way. It's saving them time. It's getting them vacations. It's boosting their self-esteem. It's getting them attention. What do you say to that?
Yeah. So I think you're looking at it still, in my opinion, from a male perspective. You basically mentioned dating. Is dating easier for women? Sure. But would you want to be born a woman?
No, not now. I'm weird. I guess I'm a masochist. I like the struggle. I like to be. I think if I was a woman, it would be like if I was a woman, it'd be like I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna train my lower body really hard. I'm gonna have sexy legs and a toned ass. If nothing else, you know that. I might do a light cosmetic surgery. I might get some boobs. If I had a really weird crooked nose, I might fix my nose, get a tan. Like I would just do whatever I could to fix myself up to the best of my ability, and then I would just enjoy being spoiled all day, and that's that. And I would be bored. Wait, did this guy Rafael did I say something to offend Rafael? I'm going to text him on Instagram, so hopefully Rafael will come back. I'll carry the stream. Probably an internet situation. I'm going to text him right now. I don't think I said anything to offend the guy or anything. Let me know in the chat if it was something I said. I'm pretty sure it was just the internet. I just texted him on IG right now. Was it something I said? All right, we have some more super chats. Really wish Rafael would come back here. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next one. We have chosen one. Oh, he said BRB. Okay, so Rafael's coming back, confirmed. BRB, he is coming back. Okay, so the stream will continue, the debate will continue. I'll just read these super chats and give my thoughts. And then when I call him Rafael, I'm in Portuguese. The R is like an H sound. His name would be Rafael. Rafael. O nome dele é Rafael no português, or Rafael in Spanish. Do women ever compliment your beard? I'm 50. My beard is gray and black, mostly gray. Do you think I should dye it for the sake of looking younger? And how long did it take you to learn Spanish? So do women compliment the beard, bro? What do you think, bro? Of course. I look like a fucking Viking god with this fucking beard. Of course they compliment it. Every once in a while, it's like 1 out of 150 girls. Okay, Rafael is back. Cool, we lost you.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. My shit got disconnected somehow.
Oh, good, you're back. We just went on to a super chat. It's about me anyway, so you can just we'll ask about women, think about your facial hair. Yes. Yes, about my beard. So here's a truth. I actually dye my beard. So my beard is naturally red. I have old photos from when I was bald. I could show you photos from fucking first year of college when I had a red beard, but it comes in white right here. You guys can see it's kind of getting in white. So I dye my beard virtually the same color that it always was. Maybe the dye makes it look slightly more red than it was naturally, but I was always Casey Redbeard. I started my YouTube career as Casey Redbeard before I dyed it, but it is coming in white here. So yes, I do think you should dye it to look younger. And how long did it take me to learn Spanish? Before I could like survive a date and kind of have a decent conversation with a high IQ person who's not a retard, about 1.5 to 2 years. And before I was like fucking sick at Spanish, better than Rafael. It took me about 5 years. Qué pena, amigo, pero te lo juro que mi español está mucho, pero mucho mejor que el tuyo.
Lo hablas todos los días. Yo no lo hablo todos los días.
I'm fucking with you, bro. All right. Do you have a quick comment for facial? We got some more super chats. If you want to comment on facial hair, you can. Otherwise,
yeah, I do think men should do whatever they can to appear attractive. I think facial hair can be one of those things as long as it fits your facial style. I think Casey's a good example. That's a good beard, man. It's a good looking beard.
Thanks, man. Tell me more. No. What did you ask the girl on the beach? Did you hit? Is that to me or to you? Who? The girl you told to take her headphones out? Is that what he's talking about?
Maybe. And
JD, clarify in the chat who this question is for, who you're talking about, and then we'll clarify.
and I'm married, JD. So no, I did not hit.
What did you ask the girl on the beach? Did you hit? Yeah, JD, clarify that. You don't need to spend more money. You can, but just clarify that. And we'll get back to you. Hey, baby Rance, I'm a former school bus driver, and there's a group of fathers called Passport Bro or Passport Bro Dads. They became Passport Bros. I got their son's passport after the death of Kevin Samuels. Hey, I'm a former bus driver. They became Passport Bros. I got their son's passports after the death. Am I the only one that's a little bit confused by that?
I don't quite get it.
Well, good for you for being a passport bro. I think you're making the right decision. And it's not that these foreign women are easy. It's just that your value goes up. So I want to make that very clear. Foreign women don't just line up for any gringo or whatever. But oh, he's got another one from same guy. But your value goes up as a man. After the death of Kevin Samuels, the girls were dancing on Kevin Samuels' grave in high schools and middle schools. The passport bro dad saw what happened and decided to get there. Says, oh, okay. So here's what he's saying. He's saying that Kevin Samuels, who was one of the originals, one of the fathers of like the red pill space of sorts anyway, he would put women in their place. He would do live streams where women that looked like grotesque cockroaches would claim that they deserved, you know, this top level guy. And when he died, apparently, kind of like the Charlie Kirk thing, RIP, people are like celebrating his death. And when his group of passport bro brads saw that, how these women reacted, taking joy in his death, they decided to get their son's passports. Okay, rage quit. Someone says they thought you rage quit. I thought it was something I said, bro.
This has been pretty. This has been very mild.
Yeah. I think the red beard makes you look good, sir. A lot of women that are running to notice my gray hair with a young face, and they say it suits me. Yeah, there's like I guess like a little bit of experience factor that comes from having a little touch of gray. I think there's even a men's a men's product called like Touch of Gray. But yeah, I don't know. I like mine red. It's also my branding. I think I'm kind of fucked. I don't think I have any choice. Okay, Rafael, I had some things that I wanted to talk about before we got into these super chats. So, you know, dudes are mad pathetic. I was agreeing with you on that. But here's my thing about the whole, you know, who has easier lives and stuff like that. You know, it would be hard, but you would agree that hypothetically, again, hypothetically speaking, virtually everybody could be in shape, right? There's nothing that makes you have to be. We could have a society where, in theory, everybody was on Ozempic or whatever. Everybody had their calories tracked and ate super healthy food and went to the gym. And you could, in theory, have a society where everybody was at least some degree of fit. Agree?
I agree. Yes.
Could you have a society where everybody's rich?
No.
By definition, right? That's how economics work.
Right.
So if men are primarily physical and the primary, at least early on, you know, sexual driver for them is looks, and everybody could at least be fit. And for women, I guess you can make this argument, right? But we could assume, or we could agree that for men, a woman's income certainly isn't a primary driver. It's very low on the list. And depending who you ask, depending on what context, but you would agree that women do place at least a fair degree of importance on a man's income and stability. Correct?
Yes, I would say in general, I will say yes, just for the sake of this. Yes. Okay,
cool. We're gonna answer JD's question in a second. He just clarified. So given the fact that all women could in theory be fit, but for me to be rich, I need 1,000 or 10,000 people to make significantly less for me to be rich. If all I want is a chick that, you know, looks decent, is in shape, but she's wanting a guy who, you know, makes a good income, doesn't that by the very definition mean that women have it easier? Because like for a guy to get rich, for me to get rich, I have to invent a new product. I have to solve some crazy problem in the marketplace. I have to get a patent on something. I have to become famous. I have to create a lot, or do something risky like sell drugs or narcotics and they get me in jail to get money. I have to dedicate myself to a craft. and bitch, you just got to do squats and drink green smoothies. But you're going to say, and then you're attractive, but I got to be rich. What do you say about that?
Well, I'd say that for the vast majority of history, men in relationships have not been rich. That is still a select few people that are considered rich. I would say most women, to clarify the question you asked about income, what I found is most women want you to have decent income, not rich, but have a stable job, and ambition matters more to them than your income does. And I think the vast majority of people in relationships today are not rich.
Let's answer this question from JD, and then let's come back to it. So JD was saying the other guy, he said he approached a girl on the beach and asked her to take her headphones off. What did he say? How did it go? And did you hit?
I do interviews on the beach, so I was just asking her questions for my videos that day.
Yeah, so if you just joined us here, Raphael is a professional blue pillar. He puts on a cape that's just pure blue and a big symbol of a blue pill on it. And Morpheus is the person that he hates the most in this world. And he sided with the machines in the movie The Matrix. And he teaches men that women like what they say that they like in street interviews. And you could take that to the bank. Let me just ask you a question on that. We can get up, we can jump around. So do you think if you ask most people on the street, hey, just a quick question for you. We're going around, look, we want honest answers. Have you ever really backstabbed and like betrayed like a close friend of yours that didn't deserve it? What's everybody going to say?
No.
But now if you go to someone who say, have you been betrayed and backstabbed by a friend when you didn't deserve it? What's everyone going to say?
Theoretically, some would say yes, for sure.
So do you see what I'm saying here? Do you think because a woman says, I just want a kind guy who's who's broke and listens to my stupid stories about my healing crystals, and I don't care if he's rich and tall and jacked and confident?
I could tell you from my experience and all the guys that I know that are in relationships, they don't fit this red pill description of guys. And what I have found is most women just want decent guys with decent jobs. That's basically what I found. So when women are saying they want someone with kindness, or let's say, let's backtrack. Sometimes I have them rank traits between money, looks, personality, etc., confidence. I've done that with their man standing right next to them. And 99% of the time, the man, he ranks them first, and then the woman says yes or no. Money and looks are always at the bottom, almost every single time. And that's, again, the guy that she's dating is standing right there. He's obviously knows how much money he makes. He obviously knows how good looking he feels he is. And she agrees with his assessment typically. Sometimes they switch things around. Sometimes they'll be like, I actually prefer kindness higher. Guys normally rank that lower. She moves it higher and says, this is actually where I see it. So in my experience, not only with guys on the street, guys that I know in my real life, the guys who are in relationships are typically good dudes with good personalities that like to be with their partners. And so when I hear women say this, do I think they always know what they want? No, but it matches my experience.
We have a super chat that I want to come back to this. I mean, if they're ranking in front of their boyfriends, even more reason for them to give the politically correct answer. But let's get this super chat.
Well, the boyfriend ranks it first.
Oh, the boyfriend ranks what she thought that she would say.
Yeah, so he ranks it and says, I say, rank these 1 through 7 based on what you think is most important to her. And so he'll do it. And then we'll show it to the woman and she'll say, that's pretty close. I would adjust these.
Sure. Well, every guy wants to feel like he's not only decided for his money. Okay. I was on Instagram and I saw Kevin Samuels 2 weeks before his death having a discussion with a woman who wanted men to take a bad deal. And he looked into the camera and said, guy, get your passports. Okay. I was on the woman. Okay. Kevin said was talking to a woman who wanted to date men to take a bad deal. And he looked into the camera and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not quite understanding it, but I think what you're saying is that on Kevin Samuels' live stream, a woman was encouraging a man to take a bad deal in terms of, I don't know, a woman that was not up to his standards, or maybe in a divorce or something, or just, settle. But someone said to get their passports is like a better option. Oh, he's got another one. When I saw that, I saw the resignation on Kevin Samuels' face when he said, sell out and get your passports. The resignation said everything. So you're saying Kevin Samuels supported getting your men getting passports or not? You can clarify that. Okay, so we were talking about okay, bro, but all right, let's be honest, bro. Who gets bitches in high school, bro? The fucking kind nerd or the dickhead, good-looking, popular jock?
You're talking about teenagers? Who teenagers date? Yeah, teenagers make stupid decisions.
All right. In a nightclub of adults where everyone is 23 and above, the good-looking alpha who's kind of a dick, kind of pushing buttons, or the shy, short nerd who's really kind?
In a nightclub, I don't think personality is even a factor. I think in a
On a
nightclub,
dating app, then. I mean,
on a
in all
on dating
circumstances,
app,
like meeting through friends, bro. Like if I'm going to introduce, go on a double date and we could rewind time, we have a simulation. We have the what if machine from Futurama. And one time I'm going to bring my, my shy, kind friend, and I'm going to bring my alpha friend who's, he's not going to be like, you're a fucking bitch. Like, but he's, he's going to be a little bit disagreeable. He's going to be, kind of like a Stifler from American Pie. Remember that movie? We're both old, right? How old are you, by the way?
41.
Yeah, we're both old farts, so we both remember American Pie. Like a Stifler, or who's like
Yeah, I was
another
in high
character
school when that came out.
Yeah, or kind of, almost like an Andrew Tate kind of guy. Who's going to get the girl? More again, we can rewind time. Double date one, my shy friend who's kind, or my alpha confident guy who's a little bit of a dick.
I think it depends on what the woman's looking for. If she's looking for something very superficial and wants to just hook up, maybe the quote unquote alpha guy. But the vast majority of men in relationships are not quote unquote alphas. The vast majority of people, first off, 50% of relationships about still start offline. So dating apps are only accumulating around 50% of relationships. I still think men should get off dating apps because I think some of your best qualities, your confidence, your personality, your humor are not going to show up in a dating app. But if you introduce your buddy to a friend and they get to talking and they like the same shit and she thinks he's funny, and he asks for a number, he's confident enough to ask for a number, I think he's got a shot. Do I think physical attraction can lead to short-term relationships? Yes, but I don't think it makes long-term relationships.
I have a love-hate relationship with dating apps. The most quality women I've ever met have been from Instagram, usually, with a rare exception. I believe in meeting women from all angles. I'll also say this, and I want to get your thoughts on this too. Actually, I'm going to share a tab right now, and I'm going to just kind of, we'll talk this out as I share this. Let me hit, okay, share screen. And it's going to only let me share one tab. So it'll be this tab right here. I have what my friend calls, he kind of has a funny term. He calls it a quote unquote maxed out Instagram. And this is actually not my Instagram, but these are all the same photos. We can pretend. Raphael and everyone, let me know if you guys can see this, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
So when I meet a woman in person, I go through these matrix attacks where I'll have not only my main Redbeard Rants, Red Pill Instagram account banned, but they'll get all my personal ones too. I don't want to get too much into it, but I've even had my personal accounts banned. And
Whoa.
if I go to what?
That's it. Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Let's not get sidetracked, but yeah, that we can have a whole stream on that. And then if I get a woman's phone number in a cold approach situation and I go straight for a phone number, then I get a certain flake rate, maybe, I don't know, a third or a fourth or a fifth. It's hard to say. It depends on so many factors. But when I actually have my Instagram, my social media, and I meet a woman through cold approach, I'm like, hey, excuse me, do you want some dick? No, I'll say, hey, excuse me, very random, but I just wanted to meet you, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I give her my social media instead. I get a much higher conversion rate. And my thinking, and I've even had women, pretty much in so many words, tell me this, is because they'll say things like, yeah, when I came up to you, I thought you were a pretty decent dude. If nothing else, if nothing worse, at least you had the balls to talk to me, right? But then when I saw your social media, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't know his, physique was low key. Your physique was actually pretty good. Even with a shirt, you can't really tell. Or, I didn't know that, you were on podcasts and, this and that. You just seemed, they'll say like, you seemed very interesting. What they're saying is you seemed rich because they see a guy giving a speech to a room full of other men, all wearing suits, being filmed and stuff. And this is all set up. This is not a real
No, I understand.
moment of my life. Yeah. It's all, 100% thing.
No,
So
it's good marketing. It's great
yeah.
marketing.
So I do like cold approach. My whole thing, shameless plug to anybody watching, I'll make it quick. I automate guys' dating lives. We actually pair people up with an assistant who's inside your Bumble, your Hinge, your Instagram, finding and sourcing women based on the women that you said you like. So if it's, big booty black chicks, or if it's skinny white girls, whatever it is, and they're chatting with the girls, and then pass it off to you when they're ready for a date. So I'm big on using social media, but I do like directly meeting women on social media. But I do think that one of the best winning combinations is day game cold approach to a social media close. And then whatever she thought of you in person, if you have a quote unquote maxed out social media like mine, I think it just makes things a lot easier and a lot better. And I don't think you have to do one or the other, but I think it's good to combine the two. What are your thoughts on
I
that?
can agree with that 100%. I think I think the likelihood of you making let me start over. If a woman matches with you on a dating app versus meets you in real life, I think the likelihood that she's going to flake the date on the dating app is higher than if she flakes you in real life. Because in real life, she got to know your personality, your vibe, your confidence. She got to hear your voice. There's all kinds of things that I think factor in. You bring up a really good point that like the follow up or the post approach, having something that she can look at like a social media and get more of a sense of who you are. I think that's good advice, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. JD, we did answer your question. He approached the girl in the headphones for an interview. He didn't fuck her. He's married. He said, "Hey, excuse me, can you take your headphones out? I want to interview you for my social media, ask you what your opinions are on men." It was not a pickup. He was not trying to have sex. So the answer is no, he didn't fuck her. He asked her some questions and posted it on his TikTok, and that was that.
Yep.
Okay. And then did we already answer this one? Yes, it was in support of Passport Bros even before it became a thing. Then the women celebrated his death. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty low. We've been on doing this for about an hour and 15 minutes. I think we're pretty much said what we had to say. We talked a lot about the Passport Bro thing and just stuff like that. The next debate will be: is the red pill, does it hurt men or does it help men? Yeah. So comment that, or put something in the chat right now if you want to see that. We'll maybe go, I don't know, maybe sometime early next week, or I don't know, we'll coordinate that. We'll get the technical issues so that we're definitely streaming to your channel handled. I'll get the time zones right. I was off an hour early. I even went live. I was like, this guy's not fucking showing up. What's his fucking deal? Da, 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 da. And then you said, I was like, oh, okay, I'm the asshole. I'm the idiot. I got the time zones confused. So apologize for that. And then what do you do, bro? I mean, we'll put your socials and all that links. It's women on men. I think they can it's like women underscore on men, right?
Yeah, that's for Instagram, and then women.on.men on TikTok.
Okay, so it's women on men separated by underscores for Instagram, or women on men separated by dots or periods on TikTok. We'll put the links in there. Do you sell anything, bro? Why are you doing this? You make it's a lot of time. Do you have a course or?
Well, I started originally out of the goodness of my heart. I straight up did not have any plans to monetize it. It happened pretty quick. I blew up pretty quick, but I'm gonna publish something soon that I think I'm gonna try to monetize. That actually, again, I'm trying to legit help men. I'm sure you are too. Like I'm sure you're not trying to hurt dudes. But I legit want to help these guys who have fallen into what I think are the bad places of the internet, and they feel like they're hopeless. And I know what that feels like, and I want to give men hope, and I want to teach them how to build the confidence within themselves that will help them in their personal life and in their dating life.
Okay. The blue pill blueprint.
We'll have to talk about what the blue pill is.
How to settle for a fatty
Damn.
in your hometown and live a brokey lifestyle with your fatty. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm fucking with you. Good title. Catch you.
Yeah, that's a good title.
All right. Raphael, pleasure. Women on Men on all channels. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.